The gang's all here today on a Friday. I'm Sean Stiers, Jesse Stiers, Vince D'Addario in the house as well. It's been a busy, hectic, maddening week as far as a lot of people are concerned. Here we are. It's we in, we out day on the show. And I'm just going to say this is going to be an NFC day. We're not fooling around. I guess that's an NFA day. We're not fooling around. Can't even spell anymore. There's some craziness going on with this Colorado defensive back right off the bat. I don't know exactly what is going on. First, it was reported that DJ McKinney, a defensive back from Colorado, had signed with Notre Dame. And then On3 reported that basically his sign has been pulled back. So I don't know if that just means they jumped the gun and maybe he's given them a commitment, but there's not an official signing. I don't know. I've tried to find some details, but have not been able to find anything out as the show starts today, Vince.
I don't even know what to say when it comes to all this stuff. I
know.
This is one of those deals where I just wish you could put me to sleep for however long it takes and then just wake me up when the portal class is done. Like, yep. I don't the roller coaster of which this isn't even a roller coaster I want to be on. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even, like, my care level is very low. Like, I know that they have holes to fill and all of those different things, but it's just like, guys, get off the roller coaster. It's not that important right now to be also emotionally invested in the portal.
Good one, Tuco. He says DJ McKinney lasted longer than last night's show.
Oh, wow. I mean, he's not wrong.
High traction show, though. A lot of views, a lot of listens to that show.
So we crammed a lot of information into one very short show.
You did.
You
did.
Yeah.
Today is we in, we out. And just for you, the listener / viewer, I've set this up so there are going to be minimal breaks. And there are also going to be relatively short breaks because we've got a short show tonight, but it's not as short as last night. We'll go an hour longer because there's Notre Dame hockey coming up at 6:45, the pregame show tonight with our friend Tyler Reedy over there calling the action of Notre Dame hockey. But so a little bit, the second hour will be condensed in rapid fire, but we've got a lot of we in, we out to get to. So I'm going to skip the foreplay and we're going to jump right into the action here. James Salumi says Notre Dame's ability to offer top market NIL money. We in, we out on that.
I'm in. I've never heard it being an issue with Notre Dame not being able to offer competitive things to people, packages, I should say. I until I hear otherwise, I think Notre Dame is plenty competitive in the NIL market.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Notre Dame has any setbacks when it comes to the NIL bag comparatively. They might not have, top dollar. I can't say that I know this with confidence, but you can't tell me there's not a lot of distinguished alumni at Notre Dame. So I wouldn't be buying that NIL is lacking at Notre Dame.
No, the NIL is not lacking. They're probably not going to spend $5 million to go out and get a Cincinnati quarterback the way Texas Tech did.
No.
And, the money is not nearly as overt as places like Texas Tech and these, like the literal pay-for-play stuff that is supposed to be monitored. But Notre Dame has every bit – there's still very good money to come to Notre Dame. No. It's just that maybe some of these other places who have – pocketbooks that they have no shame about emptying out might offer at the top. But Notre Dame still has a lot of their own players they've had to retain. I mean, just look at what they've got. It's still a very good roster with, as we've talked about this week, reserves have left. There's still really good money there. Notre Dame and Pete Bavacqua has basically said, he said it specifically about Marcus Freeman. They never want to talk about NIL and payment to the players publicly. They never want to go in that direction, and understandably so. But Pete Bavacqua was a Notre Dame alum. He said out loud, "We're here to win a national championship. It's a priority." And he's not he's not naive enough that you can just disregard NIL and rev share and everything else is the part of the deal. They know that it's there, and there's still very good NIL money, rev share money by coming to Notre Dame. So I don't think that that's a major issue. Again, there are going to be some places that are going to just completely have a bottomless checkbook, and they've got no shame about outspending everybody else. And I think that that's where a couple of these guys who have gone to some other places, that's where it falls. But that doesn't mean that Notre Dame doesn't have high-end NIL and rev share money.
They're not going to just write blank checks to people. Like
Exactly.
that's never going to happen. That's never going to be who Notre Dame is. And if you want to follow a team who does that, then Notre Dame's not your follow. And that's fine too, and everybody has to pick the way that they want to compete. And Notre Dame is not going to compete in that manner. They're also not going to write blank checks to recruits coming in from high school, but they're going to have competitive packages out there that if Notre Dame is the right place for you, you're going to be taken care of. But the money is not the be all end all. And I think that's okay.
By the way, Irish English friend from Central Kansas says he is headed to Manhattan in a few minutes for a wrestling tournament. He says he knows I'm a big Kansas State fan. Should I get you anything at the bookstore? Just throwing darts. I mean, he knows I was wearing my Jayhawk shirt here the other night. Touche. Oh, Stymie wants to know if I was able to lock down Brady Quinn this morning into agreeing on a weekly segment. Not a weekly segment, but Brady and I did record an interview today, and you will hear that interview next week. But he did say at the end he's very excited about being on the air with Two Pros and a Cup of Joe, our new morning show from 6 to 9 a.m. here on Sports Radio WSBT. He's very excited about being in the Notre Dame market, and he said that he'd be more than willing to come on again in the future and talk with us. So looking forward to that. And I think we hit some really good stuff that I think people are going to be interested to hear when you hear that interview next week, including I brought up what's the question we get asked the most about Brady Quinn. Let me put it to you that way.
Is he ever going to be the play-by-play guy or the color guy at Notre Dame?
We talked about that.
Okay.
And he gave a very good answer on that. A very not a
good
no comment type answer. He went pretty deep on it. So you'll want to hear what he had to say about that, I think.
I dig it.
Yeah.
Do we know what day that's going to be? Have you decided?
Tuesday. I believe it'll be Tuesday.
Of course it is.
Because I'm banking on us having some very intriguing things to talk about on Mondays.
Fair. No, that's fair. That just means I'm going to have to watch it before. That's all that means.
It means we get one more view/listen out of that deal so that Vince can.
Exactly. Because I'm very curious to hear what he has to say, to be honest with you.
Johnny wants to know what Brady charged for the interview. Absolutely free. You might have taken it if I had thrown him a Subway sandwich, but absolutely free of charge. Okay, more in, we out. PA Irish asked, did Marcus Freeman's exploration of the NFL and resulting uncertainty lead to what can only be described as the worst portal season since the portal was created? Now, just to make sure, some of these are not in we in out form. If this was Jeopardy, we would disqualify this question. But are we in or out that Marcus Freeman's exploration of the NFL has led to Notre Dame's portal drought so far, Jesse?
Yeah, this is a big out for me. This feels very rage baity once again. Talking about, this is described as the worst portal season since the portal was created. Portal season has just begun, so I'm really not worried about it. And if you missed out, Notre Dame's hosting a trio of 3 defensive linemen from Alabama. I just don't know how more I can say. Every day there's new names in the portal that you didn't expect, and there's a replenishment of talent every single day. So don't get on this FOMO train of feeling like you missed out because Notre Dame didn't get the top guy, quote unquote, top guy on day one of the transfer portal. So just and Marcus Freeman's exploration, I don't even know if you don't even know what his exploration was. You don't know what conversations he did and didn't have with the NFL. And I don't think it had any impact on the current Notre Dame roster and the potential portal players.
I think you can at least just say the reports of Marcus Freeman and the interest at the NFL, whatever uncertainty, because it took until basically the week, of the transfer portal opening before he tweeted out his tweet that he was running it back at Notre Dame. So at least the NFL reports, I guess, maybe clouding the picture. What do you think, Vince?
Well, we know that there were portal guys that were asking questions. So, I mean, we know that was part of it. I don't think that excluded them from getting anybody. I think that there was enough cloud out there. There was enough, enough reports out there by people that have really no idea what they're talking about, which clouded the situation a little bit. But I don't think that prevented them from getting anybody. That was not the be all end all for like Nick Marsh not coming to Notre Dame, for example. You know what I mean? So like, I don't think it had anything to do with it. And this is not the worst Notre Dame portal season since the portal was created. This is like, can we wait until February before we crown this as the worst portal season ever for Notre Dame? Like that is such an over exaggeration.
Listen, I listened to you guys yesterday, and I know Jesse brought it up. It's like, you're only thinking about Notre Dame when you look at this. Have you even branched out and looked at what other schools are doing? There's like Ohio State, like what was that cluster of schools that we were talking about?
Miami, Ohio State, and Georgia. Miami still hasn't signed anyone, and they're playing in a national championship.
Right. Like there's all these other schools that have got 1 commitment, 0 commitments at the same time as Notre Dame, but all you're focused on is Notre Dame, and it's like the FOMO that you're talking about that, just because a couple of guys have committed to some other places who were reportedly, like the high profile type guys, like why are you buying into the panic? It's because you're out there looking at these chuckers on Twitter who keep tweeting 19 guys have left Notre Dame. They've signed 0 so far.
They're not going to sign 19 guys. It's not like it's not a 1-for-1 situation.
At the most, they're going to get 10 to begin with. So like, if all you're looking at is that scorecard, you're just completely like, all these people, they're just rage baiting you is all they're doing. And you're buying into it by listening to it. Like, that's all you're doing. I completely agree with what Jesse said yesterday. Yes, I would rather have 3 loyal friends who are ride or die guys who I know that I can go to war with anytime, who are going to have my back and I'm going to have theirs, rather than having 20 friends just for the sake of saying I've got a bunch of friends like that. And that's where you are. Like, Notre Dame has never gone out and brought in, like, their portal classes are always relatively low ranked because they only sign 8 to 10 guys at the most
that are specific needs
numbers. Yeah.
Most of the time a nickel corner, that's not going to win you the top portal class. But every year they get themselves a nice nickel corner, someone who's not the top guy, but he fits in well and he plays well. And I mean, didn't Jordan Clark end up, going on to playing into the NFL, getting a shot? I mean, what's his name? Thomas Harper. He freaking played a lot of snaps for the Lions secondary this season.
Still in the NFL. Yeah.
And so it's just like, just pump the brakes. It's a matter of fit and scheme, and then those players also elevating their talent at Notre Dame as well.
It's absolutely right. And again, look, like there's just so much dramatic overreaction to all of this, because anytime during the season we talked about Josh Burnham, there were always plenty of people who wanted to say, oh, you guys are overhyping Josh Burnham. He's not that great. He doesn't do that much. But as soon as he commits to Indiana after he goes out of the transfer portal, you would think that Notre Dame lost J.J. Watt. I mean, come on. Give me a break.
100%. I mean, and now all of a sudden he's an All-American, you know?
And he's still a good player, but it's like, he's
a really good player.
We're going to get some good players.
Right. He is a really good player. That's a loss for Notre Dame. No one is shaping it any other way. It's a loss for Notre Dame. Here's the reality. He also wasn't going to start. He's going to be in the rotation.
Here's the other reality. Every school is going to lose a guy like Josh Burnham in the transfer portal cycle. Like, this isn't a Notre Dame thing. Everyone is going to lose a player like Josh Burnham. Or worse. I challenge you, though, who has Notre Dame lost where you're like, dang, that's a starter. It's not like CJ Carr is going in. It's not like Aeneas Williams is going in. Drake
Leonard
Bowen
Moore.
is going in. Leonard Moore.
Like your top players are all here, number one. And number two, they're all really well taken care of financially. All those guys that you just mentioned are all really well taken care of financially.
Correct.
That's why it's one of the reasons they're still here.
Correct.
Okay. So
I guess I didn't answer the specific question about Marcus Freeman and the NFL stuff. There's plenty more portal questions, so we'll get to address.
You wouldn't say.
But I'm out on anything NFL related with Marcus Freeman costing them portal guys right now, mostly because most of these portal guys are going to be 1-year guys. And by the time the portal opened, like maybe there was a little bit of doubt as to whether or not Marcus Freeman was going to be back before his announcement, but he announced he was going to be back before the portal opened, which we said was probably important. And so now anyone, from Marsh on down the line, whoever you want to talk about, these are all pretty much 1-year guys. So whether or not Marcus Freeman, was having any discussions or there was NFL interest in Marcus Freeman, I don't think it has cost Notre Dame at all in any of this.
Well, he also, it's not like now is the thick of it, Black Monday happened in the NFL. Teams are actually, you're seeing reports of coaches actually taking interviews for these various positions. Like Marcus Freeman never took an interview anywhere. He maybe took a phone call, that's all we're talking about.
I don't even think he actually took the phone call. It's probably his agent that took the phone call.
But there was no face-to-face meetings, contact, interviews. Like that's all the stuff happening this week, right now. And he removed himself from that 2 weeks ago.
From David Quinn, we in or we out. Does the university hold back the staff in being aggressive with NIL for transfer portal? We kind of touched on this already. Seems like other schools who are attracting top players are aggressively and vocally quoting incoming players. Blame the standards of Notre Dame. No, just blame fan patience for not being patient enough to deal with the fact that this is all out of your hands and there's a little bit of uncertainty and everyone's freaking out. That's all it is. Like, look at the list of guys who we've seen who are coming in now. I don't like Notre Dame. There's not a lack of NIL at Notre Dame, and it's not costing them anything. Again, there might be one or two guys who want high-end money that Notre Dame's not going to pay up front, and that could cost them. But in general, no. NIL.
But do you really want that guy in the first place? That's what I would say. I don't.
All he wants,
I don't want to just buy players. I'm sorry. That's not the team I want to root for. And
not the last culture fit for a guy that's just chasing a bag.
That's exactly right. And it says blame the standards of Notre Dame. The standards of Notre Dame is why I'm a Notre Dame fan. I don't want Notre Dame to change their standards. I want them to be competitive, and they are, by the way. I don't want them to change their standards. I don't know. Yeah, I feel like fans want Notre Dame to compromise everything that they believe in, everything that they want to be. Then you're not a real fan. Go cheer for somebody that does that then, if that's what you want. Notre Dame's not going to debase themselves like that, at least not anytime soon. So if that's what you're looking for, maybe this isn't the spot for you.
Can someone throw up that B Funkotron comment real quick? Because this is the part that really, really aggravates me. I'll save the first part, but I'm going to highlight the last sentence. Please relax and give Marcus Freeman the trust he's earned. Like that needs to be capitalized, bold letters, exclamation points. Like what has Marcus Freeman ever done in his, first few years as a head coach to leave doubt? I mean, they went to a national championship. We're seeing the best recruiting classes consistency-wise we've ever seen at Notre Dame. And now all of a sudden, because they haven't signed someone in the first week of the portal opening, it's time to just, burn everything down.
Michael says Notre Dame media and some podcasts are making us fans freak out. I feel like we're being gaslit, blaming it on the fans when the media stirs the pot. Look, I already talked about the fact that there are other outlets out there who are fanning this and who are rage baiting you.
Oh
so
my gosh.
Stop following them.
Right.
If you don't want to be rage baited, because the guys who are doing this are the ones who do that kind of stuff the most. And all they care about is the engagements they get on their social media. They really don't. They're just like, Cal Bird out there in California, like that's all they care about is your reaction to it, and you still control your own reaction to it.
Listen, I read an article that was written by someone on the local beat when the portal was like 3 days old. And it was talking about how Notre Dame was basically pathetic in the portal and they don't know if they're going to be able to compete and all of these different things and getting people riled up, for absolutely no reason. It was one of the worst written articles I've ever seen. And I'm not going to say who it was because that's not necessary. But the point is, it's not appropriate to say that on day 3 of the portal being open, that it's been a complete disaster and Notre Dame can't compete in the portal.
Look, a year ago, and as some people pointed out, like at this now, granted, remember a year ago, the portal was open earlier. But at this point last year, Notre Dame hadn't had any transfer portal commits. But what was going on? They were in the college football playoff and on a run to the national championship game. So your attention was diverted into a completely different space. It didn't mean quite as much. But now because you've got this hole, this void that needs to be filled, this is all you're thinking about is this kind of stuff. So but again, if you compare this year to last year, it's not that much different. It's just that Notre Dame stopped playing a month and a half earlier this year. And so now this is all you've got to talk about. And you're letting your freak factor go too high right now.
Exactly. I don't know why people let themselves get all bent out of shape when it comes to like Notre Dame portal recruiting. Go home and kiss your family. Like, give them a hug. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Everything's going to be okay. You know?
This next question is a nice, fresh breath of fresh air.
Something besides the transfer portal. We interrupt this portal talk.
Yeah, right.
Something different. We'll get back to your portal talk.
I'm sure we will.
Domer Grizz. The Baltimore Ravens and Miami Dolphins head coaching jobs are much better opportunities than the Giants job. In or out on that?
I'll go in on the Baltimore Ravens being a much better job than the New York Giants. I'll be out on the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins don't have a quarterback. Their defense is really not put together. I mean, the best thing they got is Devin Achane at running back. Tyreek Hill is, I don't know if he's ever going to play football again.
No.
You got Jalen Waddle at wide receiver. He's, a decent wide receiver too. Now let's go look at freaking Baltimore. Oh, Lamar Jackson, 2-time MVP. Derrick Henry might end up being the best running back of all time by the time his career ends. You got Kyle Hamilton and a lot of talent on defense.
Ronnie Stanley,
a good offensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really need to say anymore. Miami's a mess. I don't know why they fired their coach. I don't think that was really the solution. But yeah, I think Baltimore is definitely a better position than the Giants. At least the Giants have a solid defense. They know they're on the path with the quarterback they have. They got, they're going to get Malik Neighbors back next year. They got pieces, but not as many as the Ravens.
Yeah, the Ravens are a much more stable franchise as well. Not to mention the roster that they have. So the Ravens is definitely a better job than the Giants. I was actually everybody I think was surprised when that job came open, and I think there's going to be a fight for that job. Miami is Miami. Look, living in Miami, obviously, and all of those things, I'm sure that comes into play. But the franchise stability, the roster, and all of those things, that's 50-50 with the Giants, to be perfectly honest with you. But the Ravens are better than both jobs, and it's not close.
Yeah. See, I don't know if I completely.
No, I'm glad you brought this up. Mike McDaniel's completely bought in on him.
Yeah, I mean, Fred says Tua's a good quarterback. He just needs to be developed. He was never given any guidance. I mean, McDaniel built that whole thing around him. Like everything was catered as much as possible to Tua. Like he actually managed to stay upright and didn't get 8 million concussions this year, and that helped him. But rest of the roster, kind of Jesse went through it. Their best defensive players that they had, they lost like 2 years ago, and it's just been a steady decline on that side of the ball. That hasn't helped them. I would just say this: I would put the Ravens at the top of the list of all these openings right now, and I would put Cleveland and the Giants at the bottom of the list. So I would have Miami ahead of those two, but not by a
Really?
whole
I
lot.
was to say not by much. I mean, if you're gonna do that, it wouldn't be by much. I mean, if you had to like not keep things even and you had to rank them, yeah, I'd put Miami above the Giants.
And it's mostly because
But
I think that, like Joe Shane should have been shown the door in New York this year, and whoever was going to go in and be hired should be hired by a new general manager with the
Yes.
Giants. But that's not going to happen. So you have
exactly.
what could be you could get hired in a year from now and have a new general manager. That's
You bring
why
up a good point because the Browns and the Giants are in the same boat. You have crappy GMs, but you're firing
Yeah.
head coaches acting like
I'm
things
sorry,
are
I
gonna
forgot about the Raiders. I would actually put the Raiders at the very bottom of the list, and then
change.
next step up would be
They're in their own league. They don't even need to be considered in these conversations because they're already at the bottom.
Irish Shytown says, what is the best NFL job? I mean, are we talking about like only the
Like,
current
of the
openings? Or are we
openings?
talking
Yeah.
about in general? Of the current openings, I would say Baltimore, because
Yes.
again, there's a lot there, including a 2-time MVP playing quarterback in Baltimore in a pretty stable. He says, period.
So like even the jobs that are not available, apparently.
I think San Francisco is a really good one.
Wow. You took that right out of my freaking mouth.
About to trip out of your tongue.
Literally, I was waiting for you to finish your thought because I wanted to say it, but
I think
I was going to go the
Philadelphia's a
49ers.
good winner, and I think Pittsburgh, like those three, probably.
I think the reason why 49ers are so good is they're just so well run in the front office.
Right. And so are the Eagles. Like as much as I hate the Eagles,
No, the Eagles are well run though.
the three organizations that I listed are like the three of, like my least favorite 49ers, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, but they all have really good front offices and organizations. There's a lot of support from the inside out. That's why they're so good. They win a lot.
I would actually, and I know this is kind of crazy, but I would say the Lions are probably up there right now. I think they've got a good thing going. Now they didn't do great this year, I get it, but I feel like they're heading in the right direction.
Detroit just had too much turnover this season to with the coaching staff they lost a lot of
it's a good organization now. I'd like to see how long they sustain it, not just success on the field, but like the whole infrastructure.
All I got to say is
obviously for a long time it was not like that.
I got a buddy who's a big Detroit fan. I told him at the beginning of the season, enjoy being back in last, Buckaroo.
Okay, this is going to be the only break of this hour. It's going to be relatively short. So we're going to take this break, and then we'll come back, and we've got a lot more we in and we out to get to with questions submitted by listeners today. A lot of good stuff. Appreciate it. As always, with Vince D'Addario and Jesse Stiers, I'm Sean Stiers, Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We continue Budweiser's Weekday Sportsbeat with IrishBreakdown.com. It's we in or we out, answering we in, we out questions from listeners, fans, viewers. Don't forget, you can always watch this show either on the Irish Breakdown YouTube channel or the Sports Radio WSBT YouTube channel. And let's get to some more questions because we only have so much time to do this and a lot of questions to get to. From Brian Van Gorder's mustache, with all the young depth players entering the portal with a lot of likely upper-class opt-outs in the end, did the decision to sit out the bowl season and not have more practices, more team bonding, and a chance to show out at a game at Notre Dame play a role in their departure? In or out on that, Vince? Or
Go ahead. Are you pointing or are you raising your hand?
I'm doing the Vince.
Okay. Oh,
All
yeah.
right.
I'm usually like this. Okay. I will still to this day, and I realize there were positives to them opting out. I still think that they should have played in the game, and I still think that I would have liked to see the practices and the young guys and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I don't know that really has anything to do with the portal. Like that has nothing to do with who left and who didn't leave, because their opinions, the opinions of the coaching staff and the depth chart and all of those different things, they weren't going to change because of a couple of weeks of practice.
Right.
Like that wasn't going to change.
Guys aren't like, man, I didn't get to practice before
Right.
the bowl or play a few snaps in a bowl game, so now I'm
out. Like, no.
It's more about where they are on the depth chart and what their chances are for next year.
Correct. So, like, while I'm in on the fact I wish they would have played because I think they could have gotten something out of it for 26, I'm out that it had anything to do with the portal.
Yeah, I'm out on this, but for different reasons.
Ooh, nice.
Every other team for the majority, or I wouldn't say every other, the vast majority of bowl eligible teams competed in bowl games, and what do you know? They're losing teams or losing a lot of guys to the portal as well. And to put a bow on this argument, I would say there is a running back for Oregon tonight that has already entered the transfer portal, but is going to play with the chance of still going to a national championship. So this isn't coming down to this or that. It's coming down to where can I get more money and where can I be a full-time starter? And depth guys don't get as much money, and they don't get as much playing time.
Correct. I mean, if anything, yeah, I mean, if they would have gotten to play in a bowl game, it might have gotten them a little bit more film and a chance to go out there. But like again, look at most of the opt-outs. They're defensive side of the ball, depth chart type guys, and those aren't guys who declared for the draft. Like Notre Dame's secondary, for the most part, is still intact. The linebacking core is still intact. So it's like those aren't the places where guys have jumped into the portal, and those were the guys who stood to have more opportunities to play. And I know Mr. John wanted to play in that Pop-Tarts Bowl. He has mentioned that over and over again in YouTube chats for the last month. Lest we forget, we'll bring this up next August that John wanted to play in the Pop-Tart.
We get it. I wanted them to play in a bowl game, and I realized it would have been the Pop-Tarts Bowl. I just very much dislike all the shtick surrounding the Pop-Tarts Bowl. But that's what bowl games are now. If you're not in the college football playoff, it's all shtick. And the Pop-Tarts Bowl, to their credit, does a really good job with it. I just don't like it.
I mean, Pop-Tarts and mayo have figured out a way to get extra interest. They've got viral moments going on social media. That's what it's about these days. More power to them. I wouldn't want Marcus Freeman to have had a tub of mayo dumped over his head. And, I wouldn't have wanted him to have to sit there and play with the Pop-Tarts toaster like he cared about it.
Right. Exactly.
I would rather have him sitting next to James Franklin and having James Franklin, make little what he thinks are funny comments about Marcus Freeman's hairline, and then have Marcus Freeman go out and have his guys beat him down in a game that mattered.
If I was in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, I would lose that game on purpose.
Oh man.
I think that should actually. I think the Mayo.
Why is there no like Heinz ketchup bowl or like?
I don't want any condiments on my head like that. I'm good. Like I think that should be the the punishment for losing, not winning. Like that seems like
but
a
you know what,
punishment to me.
Vince? Did you see any of the pictures of the press box at the Pop-Tarts bowl where
No.
they made ice cream sandwiches out of the
Really?
Pop-Tarts? There were like 2,000 calories stacked on top of each other, and Vince, you would have just wolfed that stuff right down.
Sean, I'm on a weight loss journey. That's just mean. Okay, that's just mean to even put
We're
it
on
out
a weight
there.
Have you heard about this? He lost all that weight because of his procedures.
Uh-huh.
I'm,
Now he's keeping it off. He's like, you know what? I lost a free 15.
Trying.
Might as well keep it off.
I'm trying, man. And it's not easy. I'm trying, but it ain't easy. You know, just
They
got to
bringing
lose
those
some.
donuts into work still.
Just got to lose some organs. Apparently, that's all you got to do to lose some weight. So,
Okay, from Noah, we in, we out. Notre Dame's window to win a national championship is closing fast.
Fast might be a little too dramatic for me, but I do think it is closing sooner than what I thought it would, without being, completely ambiguous.
well, I think you need. Okay, let me back up. You don't need a dynamic quarterback to win a national championship. Okay,
But it doesn't hurt.
but it doesn't hurt. And CJ Carr is a dynamic quarterback, and so the window right now is the 26th season, and unless one of the guys that are on the roster right now or about to be on the roster can prove to me that they're as good as or can carry his jockstrap, I think that's the window right now. Okay, now again, I'm not saying you can't win with one of the other guys that are coming up behind CJ Carr. I'm not saying that, but man, CJ Carr is special, and having him making the calls behind center gives me a lot more confidence in winning a national championship. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean the window for the team that we know right now is probably 2026 because there are so many guys on this roster who are going to play in 26 who won't be here in 20. Like there's going to be a lot more turnover in 27 than they've seen in a while, just because of all the guys who are going to be draft eligible.
I think the 26th season is going to tell us a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. And look, they are recruiting at a very high level. There's no doubt about it. So they're reloading.
Right.
It's not going to be a rebuild.
Right.
And let's say the college football championship or the playoff goes to 14 teams or even 16 teams, right? Even if you're not winning a national championship, I still feel like Notre Dame needs to be in contention for one of those spots, regardless of who's playing quarterback. Right now, does that mean the window is closing? Does that mean the window is open? Look, if you're in the dance, you got a shot at it, right?
Exactly. That was going to be my next point.
Okay.
Like, there's still going to be playoff contenders every year, because of the way they're recruiting right now and the way they've got this thing set up. There's still going to be a lot of really good talent who's going to be on the roster going forward. But, like 2026 feels like a definite opportunity to compete for and win a national championship. 27 might be a little bit of a gap transition year to whatever degree that happens to be. But look, Miami's a 10 seed and they're playing in the national championship.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is get in the dance.
Got to get in the dance because clearly the committee was right. That's what I've been seeing. Committee was right.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point from Matt. He says, I think the window with Freeman is more of the issue, not the players or the talent.
That's what I was getting at with my.
Jesse was dancing around a little bit.
I didn't want to directly say that. I didn't want to. We're already in this state of panic and fear, and I didn't want to add to that.
Yeah.
Look,
that state of panic and fear.
I'll just say this because I get hammered for what I say, so I'll just say it like this: where there's smoke, there's fire, and Notre Dame allowed this NFL talk to go on longer than necessary, and I feel like it meant something. And so how many more off seasons can you go where it means something without him taking interviews and jobs? That's where I'm at.
Well, but I mean, you say Notre Dame allowed it to go on. Really, Marcus Freeman allowed it.
Well, however you want to say it, because I know
it was part of his negotiation process. He got a new contract here.
Right. I mean, Notre Dame, Marcus Freeman, they're like one entity for me. So
okay.
When we reached out to Notre Dame, we're like, are you guys going to comment on this Marcus Freeman stuff? And they're like, no.
But what can they say? What can they say? If he doesn't want, if he's negotiating a contract, it's in his best interest to say nothing.
I think that Notre Dame can do a better job of letting at least the media know what's going on behind closed doors a little more. I'll say that. Not publicly, but like, hey, here's what's happening. Here's what's going on. I don't know. I don't like the tight-lipped stuff.
Noah says, we in, we out. Jeremiah Love will win Rookie of the Year in the upcoming NFL season. I mean, we don't even know what team he's on yet.
I say he might be on a 4-win team like that. You're not winning Rookie of the Year on a 4-win team, so I'm out.
I actually give this a toss-up, about a 50-50 chance, to be honest with you, because I don't think he's going to go. If he goes in the top 10, I think it'll be the Kansas City Chiefs. And if he can win Rookie of the Year in that scenario, it would be if Patrick Mahomes can get back. But if he falls out of the top 10, maybe 15 to 30 range, which I don't think is personally going to happen.
Right.
But if he did, you're talking about a already kind of middle level team and playoff team. So if he can get into that kind of situation, I think absolutely he could win Rookie of the Year. It's just a matter of if he goes in that top 10, because there's just a lot of crappy teams in that top 10 right now outside of really the Chiefs. So yeah, I think he could do it in Dallas because of that offense, but I'll digress on that. I don't want to, talk about that too much.
I'll say it depends on where he ends up playing. We all know he's got the talent to be able to do that, but there are a lot of other factors. And again, we don't even know where he's going to play yet. Noah also asked, we in, we out. John Harbaugh would be a top candidate for head coach at Notre Dame if hypothetically Marcus Freeman decided to move on. I'll just say out because I think he's going to get another NFL job
like this year.
Right.
I don't think anyone who's coached in the NFL for 18 years is going to go back to recruiting. So I'll be out on that.
And that's the other thing too.
Yeah.
Does he have any interest in coaching in college? Because he's coached in the NFL. He was NFL head coach for 18 years.
Harbaugh's name always comes up when there's an opening for Notre Dame, and it has for the last couple of times there's been openings. And I understand because there's a connection to Notre Dame. His kid went here, whatever. I think that let's say he decides to sit this year out. Okay. Let's hypothetically say he decides to sit this year out. None of the jobs are appealing to him. And so he's going to take this year off. Right. And then Marcus Freeman decides to leave. Well, that would be before he accepts an NFL job for the following season. His name will be everywhere because he's unemployed. Right. And he has a connection to Notre Dame. I'm out on the fact that he would actually take it. I'm in on the fact that we would have to talk about it an awful lot.
Well, I mean, look, they tried to connect Mike Tomlin's name. Remember, like never say never, but never a few years back.
Yeah, I do
college jobs. And
right.
It's just, I think it's the same thing. Like these guys have been NFL head coaches for so long. I just don't see them making that kind of move. Like, would he be talked about, in the scenario that Vince referenced there? Yeah, he would be talked about because he would be a guy who had gone a full cycle and a full season without a job. He'd probably end up in TV next year, and then he'd be talked about again. But I think that, like so many others, I just think that he would get right back into the NFL cycle and he would get a job with an NFL team. He's very respected in NFL circles and, for very understandably so. So I don't see him leaving the NFL.
His job is already wrapped up. He's coaching the Dolphins.
And I honestly think that that's why the Dolphins moved on from Mike McDaniel
when
Harbaugh became available. I think they want to go after.
There's no question.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel was talked about getting fired 4 weeks into the season, and you held out all season. And after Black Monday, and went through a week, and then all of a sudden Harbaugh is now free, and now McDaniel's fired. Oh, I wonder why those two things happened right next to each other.
I could definitely
Josh Phillips says he thinks Harbaugh goes to the Raiders. I think John Harbaugh is way too smart for
that.
Yeah,
there's no way he's going to that abysmal franchise.
And here's just the other piece, just to throw some more fuel to the fire. John Harbaugh has not coached in college since 1997.
I knew it had been a long time. I hadn't looked at his Wikipedia recently, but I knew it had been a long time.
Guess where the last place he coached? Sean Stiers.
Was it Western Kentucky?
IU.
Really?
He was the special teams coordinator.
Man. 1997.
Yeah, buddy.
One more from Noah. We in, we out. You're excited to see Fernando Mendoza's goofy personality appear in next season's Nissan Heisman House.
He's too goofy and corny for me.
This is why I want to see it. I'm in on this, actually. I think that he'll be able to bring some supreme humor to those things. They're already,
I don't know if this is we in, we out, but my nightmare fuel is a potential Miami and IU national championship. I didn't tell you guys this in the group chat last night, but there is a solid chance I will not watch that game if that's the scenario.
I'll watch it. It'd be like a car accident that I can't look away from. That'll be the problem. Like I'll watch it, but
who would you root for in that scenario? I would root for Miami.
Root for Miami. 100%. I'm rooting for Miami in that scenario.
Tell you what, man, Mario Cristobal has moved to second on the list of least likable head coaches.
God, did you see the post game SVP?
I did.
I did not.
Oh, Vince.
I turned it off as soon as the game was over.
SVP was trying to have a little fun and,
1-0.
Yep. 1-0. Okay, coach. Great answer. Like that's great TV.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
Please share some emotion of what it's like to go play in a national championship and win the biggest game of your career.
Right. He's got the personality of this coaster. So I mean, I dig the fact that he gets excited when Miami runs the ball, gets a first down, and the offensive line is road grading.
But you got to do it every play.
But like, dude, when
and does ESPN need to show him every single time?
Oh, every single time. And look, hey, our analysis of the game was spot on, though, was it not?
I thought we did great, Vince.
You guys hit it.
We had. There's a reason why there was a lot of views in that 35 minutes yesterday.
It's all you, Jesse. I mean, come on, everybody loves it. All right, 13 Reasons Why says, with the number of depth players transferring with offers already in hand, some teams will not play their depth in blowout wins, similar to talk of not holding spring games for the same reason. Are you in or out on that?
I'm like rereading it because I
want to basically they're saying some teams won't play guys in blowout games because like they're losing depth. So they won't play.
Because they don't want to showcase their depth. They want to keep it. So let's not play the depth and blowouts because it produces good film.
That's nonsense.
Yeah, I mean that's just a disservice to a player. You're not just gonna say, hey.
It's a disservice to you too, Jess. Like if you're the head coach, if you're the coach, you've got to get these guys playing time because you never know when your starter's going to get hurt.
That's how you build your program.
Yeah. I would never.
That's been a backbone for why Notre Dame has been really good under Freeman is they have the depth when players go out. So I really like that because under Brian Kelly, a starter goes out and the whole game plan goes out the window.
Yeah, I don't. You can't think like that. You can't think like that as a coach. You know what I mean? Like look, spring games are becoming increasingly less important, and I get that. I don't look at it as I can't play these guys because people are going to be watching and they're going to be scouting and they're going to try to get our guys in the portal. Like if they want your guy, they'll get him, and they have other ways of getting film and all. All
right. Short show tonight. We got to keep this rolling here a little bit.
Vince is being a me tonight.
See if we can go mini rapid fire here, getting some of these in from Utah. As constituted right now, Notre Dame football is a top 5 team. The portal is great for depth pieces, but Notre Dame does not need to hit home runs because we are already loaded due to top tier recruiting. In or out on that?
Big in, and this is what we've been preaching this whole week, I feel like.
In.
Totally in on this. Vince, this one is from Trevor. Look at this shirt. It is a mad bear eating a hunk of cheese.
Let's go.
And he says, Vince, I bought this shirt for tomorrow night, watching the Bears game with 2 of my best friends that are diehard fans. Should be a fun one. We in or we out on the apparel choice for Saturday.
I dig it. That's a great shirt. That's a great shirt from Trev, and I'm all in, Trev. I'm all in. I know you're not necessarily a Bears fan, but good for you on just, reading the room and getting on
a little
board.
Fun.
Yeah, love it. I love that shirt.
I'm big in as well, and I think you need to add the cheese grater foam hat as well.
Yeah, I dig that. I dig that a lot. Look, I'm nervous about Saturday. I'm nervous because
Vince, don't be nervous. They're in
both Packer games have been very, very close and have been won either in overtime or at the very end. You know what I mean? So it's probably going to be a really good game. But
no Jordan Love. No Jordan Love.
Cannot lose to the Pack. You're the number 2 seed. Come on.
At home.
What are you Googling there? What are you doing?
That was a lot of.
If Jordan
something.
Love is really not playing,
I don't think Love is playing, is he?
I thought he was. I needed to fact check you real quick.
Okay.
It did. I mean, they
Is
still.
or isn't he? Dude, have you found out?
He's in, but I don't buy a guy that's sat out the last 3 weeks. You know, like you don't just hop back into things, especially in the playoffs.
Okay. So I think the preliminary was Love was out. Maybe that news was too old. Okay. Sorry, he's playing apparently.
I mean, it's not like the Bears ran away with it when he went out in the first place.
No,
so,
yeah.
You know, yeah.
I'm gonna have to skip this one because this isn't in or out. This is something we can talk about next week, but it's not an in or out question. Speaking of Bears Packers, Irish English, Bears Packers going to turn into a defense optional shootout. In or out on that?
I'm out. I don't know that the Bears can hang in there with an offensive shootout situation.
Bears seem to get just enough offense when they need it.
100%.
They're not very consistent from start to finish.
I think about 24 points wins that game, maybe 27.
Yeah, so I'll have to be out on that one as well. In or out, CJ Carr will have more career NFL passing yards than Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore combined. In or out on that? I'm going to go in. I think he's going to be a much better pro than either one of those two guys.
He will be a better pro than he is a college quarterback, which is saying something considering I think that he's going to be very, very good next year.
Man, I don't know. I'm not bought on Dante Moore. I think Fernando Mendoza can be a really nice pro-style quarterback.
He's also going to go to a really bad team, which I guess A. Carr could too. Like they could both.
Oh, that's definitely possible. Yeah, that's definitely possible. Just hope it's not Cleveland where our quarterbacks go to die.
I'll be in for the fun of it. Sure.
Yes.
Sign me up.
Way to jump on the bandwagon.
Got a handful of outs. I'm in on that. Carr more combined than Mendoza and Moore. Joe says the moving of Al Washington to linebacker coach and the hiring of Charlie Partridge was not just because of the loss of Max Bulla. A change was going to be made either way. In or out on that?
I'll be out on that. I think once Bulla moved on, though, that there was a clear path that they wanted to get Charlie Partridge. I think that's where it became, where can we move Al Washington because this guy is going to enhance our team greatly.
They love Max. They weren't going to move him out, and that's his spot. He wasn't going to be coaching a different position, so it became a reality because he left.
Right. He was really good at it, obviously, as well, which is part of why he got co-defensive coordinator back.
Very, very, very quick story. He came into the interview room after the Ohio State game in the national championship so he could watch Jack Kaiser give his post-game thoughts and everything. Like, he really cared about his guys.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was in there and he was emotional and, like, that's a big loss for Notre Dame. It's a big loss. He's a really good coach. Really good coach.
Absolutely. All right. So we didn't get to everything in We In or We Out, but we do have rapid fire coming up in the shortened second hour of the show. So I'll go through and kind of repurpose some of those and bring them back on next week's show since we ran a little bit short on time and we're a little bit short on time tonight. The second hour rapid fire is on the way. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. Hour number 2, a shortened hour. We've got Notre Dame, Michigan hockey coming up. 6:45 pregame tonight here on Sports Radio WSBT. We got a lot of things we're going to get to, or at least some meaty things I think we're going to get to in rapid fire. I do want to mention, before the college football playoffs started, Jesse and I each drafted 6 teams to like who we thought would win the national championship. We did a snake draft.
Okay.
The only team Jesse has left is Oregon. I have both Indiana and Miami.
Go Ducks
from my snake draft. So so there's a chance that if Oregon wins, it could be me against Jesse next week.
Go Ducks.
All right.
If they win tonight, it's going to be go. I mean, I might go out and buy Oregon gear for the following game.
Get like a duck eating a piece of cheese or something. Or,
yeah, now you're talking.
Or a duck carrying one of those Miami, whatever those birds are, in its mouth or something. Like
absolutely.
I don't know. Okay, so Miami is going to play for the national championship after beating Ole Miss in the semifinals last night. Notre Dame had beaten the Hurricanes in the season opener. The Irish would have at least been in the playoffs, and maybe even back in the national championship game themselves. Who knows? But there's been a lot of, like the reversion to pointing fingers about who's to blame for Notre Dame's loss to Miami. So I ask you guys, how do you split up the blame? We've got a scale of 100%. So 1 to 100, you've got 3 people that we're putting in this. The head coach, Marcus Freeman, the defensive coordinator, Chris Ash, who gets the majority of the blame, it seems like, from everybody, and the offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock. So how are you divvying up the blame for the loss to Miami between those 3? Go ahead, Vince.
So the head coach has to get the most. Period. End of discussion. Because the head coach is the one that approves, game plans, has the final say. Head coach has to get enough, or it has to get the most, and it can't be all equal because the head coach is the head coach. All right, he's not getting there. It's not an equal paycheck, so I'm sorry, there can't be equal blame. So the way I do it is I'm going Marcus Freeman 50, I'm going Chris Ash 30,
okay,
and I'm going Denbrock 20.
Okay.
Because I think there's blame to go around, and that's how I would divvy it up. 50, 30, 20.
We're not far off on ours. Michael says 50, 30, 20 as well. What's your split, Jesse?
I agree predominantly with what Vince is saying. You're the head coach. Everything goes through you. Game plan goes through you. All that goes through you. So Marcus Freeman is at the top of the list. I'll give him a solid 60. I'll give Chris Ash 30, and I'll give Mike Denbrock. I'll give Denbrock 10. I think they were conservative, but rightfully so. And they did start to open up in the second half when they needed to. So I also give him credit for adapting. Chris Ash was bad the whole game. And therefore he needs to be, his weight needs to be heavier.
Okay. So
I like Vince's breakdown. I couldn't copy him.
Yeah. So
that's
look,
fair.
We're all kind of in the same ballpark. I'm going 60% to Freeman, 25% to Ash, and 15 to Denbrock. Pretty sure that math is right? Yeah. 60, 25 is 85, 15.
Yeah, I like it.
So wanted to make sure that it all added up right. So, but I mean, look, we talked about this the other day. Marcus Freeman is the head coach. And at the end of the day, the buck has to stop the head coach. You can't just blame the bad stuff on the coordinators and give the head coach all the praise and give him a free pass because you disagree with whatever the game plan was. The head coach is involved in the game plan. And especially in the season opener, you've got an entire offseason to prepare for this. You've got an entire training camp to prepare for this. Marcus Freeman didn't just show up on the sidelines August 31st at Hard Rock Stadium and go, man, this is what our game plan is. This is what we're doing. It just doesn't work that way. He's the head coach. And again, if his name is on the marquee, he can't just be the one who gets all the praise. He is just as culpable in all this, because again, training camp, on and on and on. They knew that Miami offensive coordinator likes to feed the slot wide receiver. Like, that has been his MO for, like, go back and look at the production of Miami slot receivers. It wasn't just Malachi Toney, like they knew that. They also knew what they had when Jeremiah Love, though, and like he gets just 10 carries in the game. So some of that does have to go to Mike Denbrock, and they did make an adjustment at halftime. But if you're Marcus Freeman, it shouldn't take until halftime of the third game of the season to finally say, look, we can't keep doing this defensively. This can't be our game plan. But that also goes back to training camp as well. The failure to recognize the strengths and weaknesses of the personnel that they had is not just about the coordinators. It's about the oversight of the head coach as well. So I've got to put the majority of it on the head coach. The others, yeah, they deserve their share of the blame as well. But I've got to put the majority of it on the head coach, and again, for taking as long as he did, especially on the defensive side, because, like this whole conversation about, well, like you can't give Chris Ash the credit for improving the defense. Do you think that he's the one who made the decision? Well, no. But again, the head coach should have also come to that conclusion much quicker.
Oh, yeah.
And it ultimately cost them their first 2 games, not just the first game.
Yeah. Agreed. Completely.
Sean Kelly says, got to put 5% of it on Adon. Got to make a play on the ball. He says, I'm kidding, but that hurt. I mean,
there were a lot of issues, and, there's blame to go around, obviously, with players not making plays and things like that. I totally understand that. But, we're talking from the coaching standpoint. Yet has there been played the perfect football game. So, there's always going to be blame to go around, win or lose. But yeah, I agree. The majority has to go to the head coach. Has to.
Fill in the blank between Chris Fowler's multiple mentions of Notre Dame during the Miami Ole Miss playoff semifinal last night, and then SportsCenter anchor Nicole Briscoe starting SportsCenter's open with, "Hello, Notre Dame. Are you there?" before talking about the game. ESPN is blank.
Super childish and unprofessional. How about that? Because, and I was like, I wonder where she went to school. So I actually looked it up. She went to Northern Illinois, right?
Northern Illinois.
So I guess she's got some bragging rights because they actually beat Notre Dame. And unfortunately for them, they also lost a bunch of MAC games that year.
Got to play into it feels like, though, right? Like, that's got to play into it.
Absolutely. 100%. I would love to go back on her social media for the day that game actually occurred and see what she had to say. But that was just a low blow and a dig that was completely unnecessary and completely unprofessional. I'm sorry.
I agree.
Where's Texas? Where's BYU? Why the shade for Notre Dame? It's just unprofessional. Do your job. Talk about the game that actually took place.
I'm really struggling with this one, and I would have went first, but I'm trying not to get use some foul words here, use some bad words here. It's shameless, I think, is the way I'll go at the end of the day, because it's like we've all moved on. Notre Dame has moved on. Maybe we all haven't moved on because there are fans and people who are still upset about it, but it's just it just, to me, it shows just that train that everyone at ESPN bought into that last week of the year, where there must have been a memo that went out that said, any chance you get, bag on Notre Dame and promote Miami and everyone else, right? And so it's just like, it's infuriating, because it's like, why can't we just move on? And why are we still focusing on that when a team has just won an opportunity to go to a national championship for the first time since 2002 or 2001, whenever that Ohio State game was. And so, biggest win in Mario Cristobal's career. And then to top it all off, I'm glad I didn't even know about the Chris Fowler thing, because I muted those busters.
Oh, they were bad. They were bad as a duo. They were really
I turned it on for a little bit in the third quarter, and you can ask my wife. I was cussing out Kirk Herbstreit in the first 2 minutes, and I was like, "Yep, this is going back to mute."
It was rough, Sean. Like, Fowler adding
I
up
missed most
scores
of the
wrong.
first half. Yeah, but yeah, that's what I heard. Like just a lot of just like
Man.
really basic bad stuff happening.
And the only other team he ever mentioned besides the two that were playing in the game was Notre Dame, and it was on multiple occasions. Like, dude, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I'm so happy. I would have lost my mind.
Oh, dude, it was really bad. And they said that Carson Beck was in his 7th year.
Right.
Like,
Not in
what
his
are you-
7th year.
What are you talking about? Like,
Yeah.
I had actually looked up how old he was a few weeks ago for fun, and he's 23. And I'm like, his 7th year?
So he started college when he was 16.
Like, how's that possible?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah. Exactly.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. Nobody watches SportsCenter anymore to begin with, and then you do this kind of stuff, and the only reason anyone knows about it is because somebody put it on social media. And it's like you're wondering, are you just doing this stuff now for social media clips and bites and stuff like that? Because that's what it feels like. It's like, because it's nothing more than a social media troll job. And to me, having watched like little pieces of Nicole Briscoe over the year, she's the girl who thinks that she's the cool girl, but she's not actually the cool girl. She just hangs out with the cool girl. And so as a result, like she thinks she is it, and she's like the try hard girl who won't stop talking at the lunch table, always raising her hand first to try to impress the teacher. And then does just wait till my boyfriend gets here. He's going to kick your butt, when you're at the party because like you cut her off with the Jell-O shots and that kind of thing. It's like, that's what she feels like to me. And it's just ridiculous. Like there's enough hate, I think, for ESPN in general. And then you just lose any shred of journalistic integrity when you do something like this, because you are supposed to be a person reporting the news / giving us the highlights. It's like, it's obvious why the Scott Ben Pelt Sports Center is the only one worth watching anymore because of stuff like this.
And it's on like in the middle of the night, so it's really hard to watch it. So,
Exactly.
Man.
So you got, like you mentioned, Chris Fowler. Sean McDonough was actually named the National Sportscaster of the Year before the Sugar Bowl, and he's going to call the Indiana-Oregon game in the Peach Bowl tonight. Do you buy or sell Sean McDonough needs to be ESPN's #1 play-by-play announcer?
Huge buy for me. I told you I have to mute these games, and that's a travesty for what are supposed to be the best. These are college football playoff games. We're talking about the semifinals, and then eventually the national championship. It's a huge buy for me. I'm too saturated with Kirk Herbstreit and Chris Fowler right now. Like both those guys are doing NFL. They're doing the biggest college games. It's just too much. They're bad at NFL, and now they're too arrogant and cocky to be good in college. It's just, I personally think Kirk Herbstreit thinks that his voice ultimately should matter in the direction that college football goes. And it's like, dude, your job is to quite literally show up and tell us what's happening on that given day for that given game. Everything else, I don't care about your opinion. I want the analysis on the game I am watching, and I don't need to hear about Notre Dame. I don't need to hear about what you think about college football. I need to hear what is going on between Miami and Ole Miss right now today.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, it was funny. So a couple of days ago, I don't remember how it was going, but somebody was like, yeah, that bald guy that did a bunch of the Notre Dame games in the postseason last year, he should be doing more games. Agreed. I think he does a really good job. So I'm in on all that. I would say, as far as the Kirk Herbstreit thing goes, did anybody else find it interesting? And I don't know if you guys caught this or not, but at the beginning of the Rose Bowl, that obviously it comes from a donation, but it's called the Herbstreit Family Broadcast Booth at the Rose Bowl. Like, what is your connection to the Rose Bowl that now you have your name on the broadcast booth, and somebody that's way more tied into the Rose Bowl than you, it has the press box named after him.
Interesting.
That should be the broadcast booth.
I did not. I don't think I got to see that because I think I might have been doing a basketball game. I can't remember exactly, the whole timeline of that thing between traveling to Atlanta. And
it was at the very, very beginning. Fowler was like, how cool is it that we're in the Herb Street family broadcast booth?
Yeah.
It was that kind of thing.
About as cool as bringing your dog everywhere you go. Because look,
don't even get me
I've
started.
been wanting to say this for a long time, and I haven't, and it's pent up. Look, I like dogs too. I've had dogs. Jesse has dogs. Vince has, do you still have a dog right now? Vince, we all have dogs. We love dogs. I don't know. To me, it is a shield for Kirk Herbstreit. It's a nice little social media moment. Oh, look at my dog. And I put him on social media. And it's like, okay, great. The rest of us don't get to bring our dog with us everywhere we go to work. And it's just too much. I'm sorry. I don't care about Kirk Herbstreit's dog. And I especially don't care about him when you're flying in private jets. Where you go.
Exactly. I don't know if I'm going too far here, but when his last dog, passed away and everybody was doing and that was really sad. We've all lost pets and it's really sad, but the very next week he replaced him with his other dog.
Right.
There was not even a mourning period.
By the way, he's got 5 of the same dog.
There was no mourning period whatsoever.
Come on, Peter. Come on.
He lost me there. I really felt bad for him that he lost his dog and everything, but he lost me as soon as he got replaced, the next day. Yeah.
The Sean McDonough thing, because I didn't even make my point on that. I think Sean McDonough is maybe the most criminally underrated play-by-play announcer in all of sports broadcasting. This is a guy who has done World Series before. He brought us Bream to the plate in the Atlanta Pittsburgh Pirates NLCS 30-some years ago. He's done big games. He used to do Monday Night Football and kind of got railroaded out of that. The fact that he is the number 2 guy behind Fowler is just a joke. He is 20 times infinitely better than Chris Fowler as a play-by-play announcer. And he knows how to get excited at the right moments, but he also doesn't make the broadcast all about himself, which is essentially what you were talking about with Chris Fowler. Sean McDonough is a Boston guy, so he's got a little snark in him. He's going to bring that, it comes out every now and then. But at the same time, he doesn't feel like he's got to give you an opinion on everything that's going on in college football. It is still about the nuts and bolts of the game, and he is really good at it. So he is deserving of winning the National Sportscaster of the Year, and he absolutely should be the main voice of college football on ESPN and not Chris Fowler, because Fowler is just a mid play-by-play announcer at best, but he's been there for 40 years. So for some reason they gave him that job.
And they took away, him being on College Game Day, right? And now all he does is call games, and I don't know. I felt like he was better on College Game Day than he is calling games, to be honest with you.
I do too. Yeah. I do too. Absolutely. Yeah. And if they had him doing that and they had McDonough and then Tessitore as their top 2 play-by-play announcers, I think, that kind of gets me excited. Yep. Ghost, you're absolutely right. Because again, he is a Boston guy. He used to do Boston Red Sox games back in the early 2000s. He's done a lot. By the way, again, on this subject of ESPN and its involvement with the college football playoff and, televising, all that, another thing that I asked Brady Quinn about in that interview that I did with him. So you'll hear some of that in that Brady Quinn interview next week.
Let's go.
Told you I thought that there were some good topics that we hit.
I'm going to watch it as soon as we're done with the show. So just to FYI.
Oh, you're going to watch it before it even gets posted?
100%.
So I don't even get a click?
I'm 100. I'll give you a click still, but I'm definitely watching it first. I can't wait at the weekend.
Okay, Jesse's got to cut out of here pretty soon, and we've only got a little bit of time left. Did you want anything you want to hit on tonight's Indiana-Oregon game before you cut out, Jess?
Yeah, I liked your compliment from yesterday about Vince and I giving a quick little breakdown of that game. So I think naturally that's where I'd like to go here a little bit. I think that it, I'm in the boat. It's always hard to beat a really good team twice in the same season. I think that this game is going to bode well for Oregon, and I think Dan Lanning is a coach who's up to the challenge of bringing that physicality and matching IU's physicality. And I think ultimately that's what it's going to come down to at the end of the day. Can Oregon's defense be physical enough and get some key stops? And then can the offense for Oregon be dynamic? I think IU is they're consistently IU. You know what you're going to get out of IU every week. You know, Kurt Signetti is a good coach. They're going to be well prepared.
Yep.
Mendoza won the Heisman. They're going to put up some points. But can the Oregon defense be physical enough, and can they create enough explosive plays on offense to score some points? And I think really that's what it comes down to.
That Ole Miss had last night, and they did a little bit of both. They just didn't have enough juice at the very end.
They were able, like last night, they were able to put pressure on Beck, and they kind of forced him into some not great throws. And
I just don't know why they couldn't take away those damn screens.
That's their bread and butter, obviously. The bigger issue for me with Miami, or within that game, was they couldn't stop Miami running the ball right up the middle.
Yeah.
3rd and 3 or less was a guaranteed first down all night long. All night long. They could not stop the run game. And remember, I said last night, I was like, if Miami can run the football, this could very well be a long night for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And it ended up being that way. To the credit of Trinidad Chambliss, who did everything in his power to keep his team in that game, they could not stop the run, and that's what lost them the game.
Absolutely.
So you telling me tonight comes down to who can run the ball better?
Who can get more pressure on the opposing quarterback? I think those are the two things that are going to probably call this game.
I think Oregon as a physical team is underrated.
Yes.
They're very.
And that's what I was kind of getting at. Dan Lanning is that mentality.
That's right. He obviously came from the SEC. He knows how the thing needs to be built. Like, they're not quite as dynamic as they were last year, but they still have some dynamic players. Interesting that I saw they had to move 2 guys from the secondary to running back this week because of injuries. So I don't know if either one of those guys, ends up, being out there on the field tonight. Dante Moore threw 2 interceptions in the first game against Indiana. One of 2 games this season where he's had multiple interceptions. The only other one was the win over James Madison, and obviously that was a very lopsided game. But I think they take care of they lost by 10 points the first time. Take care of the ball a little bit better. And I think this game, just like last night, comes right down to the wire. I still give IU the edge. They deserve to be the favorite in this thing, but as everyone has pointed out, it is very hard to beat a good team twice. And so I think that I'm really curious to see what the wrinkles, what the changes are that Dan Lanning has this time around.
I will say this, with a guy who didn't really have a dog in the fight last night, I don't really have a dog in the fight tonight. I mean, I know who I kind of want to win, like that kind of thing. But like last night's game was extremely entertaining. It was a great football game to watch. I hope if they can repeat that tonight, I'll be happy. You know what I mean? I want, like, the rest of the game so far have not been entertaining.
Game right down to the
I know.
Last way,
How do you let Carson Beck run in for the game-winning touchdown? Like,
And by the way, this was debated on a couple shows that I saw today. Like, that was not your typical Hail Mary, just chuck it to the end zone into a pack type final play. And there was obvious pass interference on that. It was a pass play, like, it was one-on-one coverage. It was obvious pass.
They're never going to call that in that moment. It's a free for all. It's every man for himself. I agree.
Yep.
I still think they could have got 10 yards, put that clock at like 1 second, and run a way more efficient play on that last play.
I didn't like the play call. I really didn't like the play call. I did not.
Roll out and throw it up.
Unfortunately, in a game where Charlie Weiss Jr. called a really good game overall, like some of the play designs and stuff like that are amazing. By the way, someone else I talked about with Brady Quinn. So you got that to look forward to.
Gosh, you're just making it more exciting for me to watch that tonight. That's all I'm saying.
All right, Jesse, enjoy the rest of your night. Enjoy your weekend. And Vince and I will be back in just a second to wrap this up.
Bye, my friends.
All right. Rapid Fire concludes right after we take our final break. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com. We are winding down rapid fire and Budweiser's weekday sports beat with IrishBreakdown.com. I was worried, I knew that we were losing Jesse for this last part of the show, and then I'm coming back, and all I was looking at was the empty chair on YouTube there in
my bad.
His den. He's back though. He's back better than ever.
My son and I we did like a dynasty over the Christmas holiday. We created a coach, and we've just been like getting a team going and recruiting and everything. We're in like season 2032.
Oh, okay.
He's over there playing it without me. So I was having to come in there and be like, dude, you got to do this. You got to, I'm trying to be like assistant GM over there. And so, yeah, that's what I was doing.
Texas Chris says, how can you enter the portal but still play in the game? Aren't you off the team while you're in the portal? No,
you're
not.
Still a student at the school.
It's basically just your intention to leave, but you haven't left the team yet.
Right.
At that point. So, yeah, that's why you can still do it. It's fairly rare for a player to do it while you're in the portal. Like in this case, the Oregon running back could have at least waited until after this game to enter the portal. And for that matter, if you're in the playoff, you get an extension anyway. Like he could have just waited until the entire season was over before he entered.
But you know what? If that's your intention and you've talked to the coach that you're, of the team that you're leaving and things like that, and everybody's on board, like why not get your name in early so people know that you're interested and that your spot someplace isn't taken up? Like I get it.
Just a little, just a little odd, I guess.
It is. No, it is. But like that's the world we live in, man. Like
that's right.
That's the weird world we're living in, and it takes away any kind of tampering or having conversations that you're not supposed to have, and all of the like. Oh, nope, I'm in the portal. Let's go. So. It's interesting.
Michael says the Ole Miss D was gassed. Only reason Beck scored. They were on the field almost 42 minutes. They were. I mean,
I get that.
They held up physically as well as they could, but you could tell, like even like through the later in the third quarter, they were starting to get gassed pretty good out there.
Yeah, Miami was the more physical team, and it showed down the stretch. I mean, Ole Miss did everything they could to stay in that game. They did everything that they could. It's just they gave. Well, I think the stat that I saw and everybody else saw as we were watching the game. It's like the first time ever that a team has done 4 13+ play drives in a college football playoff game. Like that's nuts, man. Like that's being on the field for a long time.
And that's what, for the most part, Ole Miss got to Beck a few times. They got to him when they needed to. And I mean, the fact that I'm not blaming the kicker because it was a long field goal, but he doinked the upright
that's tough.
On that one. I mean, he doinked the upright on the other, and he got fortunate that it went through. But like, they got across midfield so many times, but they just couldn't. They just couldn't score touchdowns. They had to keep settling for long field goal tries. And fortunately, they had a kicker who's got a pretty good leg, obviously, and was able to hit some of those. But it's like you just get one more touchdown, and maybe you get that field goal, or like 10 more yards and give yourself a more comfortable field goal, like the game of inches.
I'm telling you, and it was, like I said, 3rd and short just absolutely killed Ole Miss all night long. Yep. I mean, Miami was 11 of 19 on 3rd down and 2 of 2 on 4th down, and I think both of those 4th downs, if I remember right, were both converted with short runs. And they just it was like a hot knife through butter, man. That's what won them the game.
So there's been a lot of attention, obviously, on the Lane Kiffin situation with the Ole Miss assistants and specifically Charlie Weiss splitting time. And obviously that's over now that Ole Miss has been eliminated from the playoff. But in the meantime, Oregon's offensive and defensive coordinators, they've been splitting time while working for the Ducks in this playoff run after being hired as head coaches at Kentucky and Cal. But nobody's really talked about that. Why do you think that is, Vince?
2 words: Lane and Kiffin. That's it. I mean, I think that's what it is.
It basically boils down to it's Lane Kiffin. It's kind of a circus.
It's 100% a circus. And, you got the plane and you got Chuck Weiss Jr. getting on the plane, but then he's back. And, it's all over the news. It's all because of Lane Kiffin. And if Dan Lanning had left, and then maybe that becomes more of a news item, that kind of a thing.
And because they are coordinators, they're not the front-facing, face of the program. Okay.
Coordinators going and getting head coaching jobs and trying to do both for a month is not out of the ordinary. It's happened before. It'll happen again. You know what I mean? But the Ole Miss LSU thing is just weird. And I guess it is more newsworthy, I guess. But those guys are still getting guys in the portal, and they're doing all kinds of stuff, while coaching Oregon. I mean, I got to give them a lot of credit.
No, you're absolutely right. And part of me, I think, wanted Ole Miss to win, not just because they were playing Miami and all the, back and forth that obviously went on with Miami. That was definitely part of it. But part of me as well was like, I kind of wanted to see Ole Miss, like I wouldn't have minded seeing Ole Miss just win it all after Lane Kiffin left, because he said that he couldn't win a national championship at Ole Miss and he had to go to LSU to do it. There was a big part of me that wanted to see that happen just as much as anything.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I'm here for the stories. I'm here for the nonsense. I'm here for all of the drama.
And we get all of it.
Just bring it on.
Fill in the blank. It's blank that after Ole Miss lost to Miami in the semifinals, this is going to be the first time since a stretch from 1999 through 2002, the SEC has gone 3 straight years without a team playing in the national championship game.
That's a wild stat. That's an absolutely wild stat. And the fact that they had 5 teams in a 12-team playoff and they have nobody playing for the national championship, I think that kind of speaks volumes. And it also tells you that the talent across the country is spread out more now than it's ever been before because of NIL and revenue sharing and all of the different things like that. This is the good part of NIL, right? That they're not stockpiling all the talent like they did when Nick Saban was at Alabama, right? This is the good part of NIL. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with the college football playoff at this point.
And this is what, when portal started and NIL, I said that these things were kind of happen. I didn't think it would be as dramatic as it has been, because I just felt like between the portal and the ability to pay players, I thought, okay, you'll get a couple players at Arizona. You'll get a couple at Arizona State, and it'll just spread out. It's still spread out all over the place, but it has really sucked the depth from these SEC teams like Georgia and Alabama, and that's one of the biggest differences. And look, like, as Stymie comment almost slid away. Stymie says, has the SEC propaganda machine mentioned the Big Ten is trying to three-peat? Michigan, Ohio State, and now potentially you've still got Indiana and Oregon.
If Oregon wins tonight,
that's right.
Yeah.
And
Indiana,
look, I'm not gonna, because I did see someone today try to say, oh, the Big Ten is the much deeper conference and all this. No, they're still very top heavy.
They're not.
Like, better teams right now these last few years have been in the Big Ten. They're still very top heavy.
Correct.
Themselves. But, again, like, this all has to be evaluated because it is an SEC propaganda machine with the stuff that ESPN is pumping out about these SEC teams. Alabama is not the Alabama of 3 years ago. They have to come to grips with that, and that had a big impact this year. All right, we got to wrap it up with that. Vince, have a great weekend. Appreciate it as always. Go hit your dynasty mode, and we'll talk to you later. We've got Notre Dame hockey coming up next here on WSBT. We'll wrap it up now. Budweiser's Weekday Sports Beat with IrishBreakdown.com.
Go Tulane. The Green Wave.